My name is Darek Kocienski, and I'll be your host today. I'm Chief Growth Officer at Neoteric, the company that helps gyms build custom software, apps, and platforms. And I have three amazing guests today for our discussion. So, I've got Becky Cerroni from AMP. I've got Lukas Dojka from Xtreme Fitness and Gareth Bacon from Wellfit. And we're going to have a discussion around how to build a technology roadmap for your gym. And we're going to have a panel discussion, but there's also room for you, dear audience, to ask any questions that you might be having. So there is a functionality in the chat where you can post your questions in the discussion. So feel free to ask whatever you want to know. So let's maybe start with the first question, a bit of introduction. So I would like to ask maybe Becky, starting with you, if you could tell us about yourself and AMP and your background and also the plans for your gym.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Derek. I'm Becky Cerroni. I'm in Texas right now, but I actually live outside of New York in the US. And I've been a fitness CEO for many years, brought a cycling studio concept to Texas in 2013. So one of the first kind of boutique fitness concepts here. We rebranded in 2022. We're now called AMP Studio, which stands for All My People. And it's a combination of cycling and strength. So the classes seem to be doing really well. The other part of my life, I'm the president of consumer brands for a holding company called GoSaga. So AMP is one of our brands, and we envision it being the roadmap for a future franchise. And so the idea is really kind of half strength, half cycle.
Nice. So I understand that you're laying foundation at the moment. I see a bicycle behind you.
Yeah.
So
always.
You do what you preach. Nice. And great to have you here with us today, Becky, and hear your take on technology. Lukas Dojka, if you can also tell us about your business and your story.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm actually originally from Poland. I live in Poland. My business is now based in Poland, but I left into the US when I was 17 years old. Started working in the gym, and then grew my career in the health and fitness industry for about 15 years. After 6 years in the US, working in different positions and for a few different operators, moved to London, to the UK. Continue my career, and eventually after 15 years moved back to Poland, opened my first gym, started my gym. Then I had a plan to create a chain from the one gym, and now we are a chain. We're the only franchise chain in Poland. We just opened 2 weeks ago. We just opened 52nd locations, one of the three top gym chains in Poland. With the plans to open with the new strategy we just implemented, with the plans to open another 180 clubs here in Poland. Wow. Over the next 6 years. So yeah, that's and the chain calls Xtreme Fitness gyms.
Sounds like very aggressive plans.
Thank you. Yeah, with the aggressive plans, but a big opportunity. We're now in a position to scale the business. We built the foundations over the last 10 years, especially over the last 3 or 4 years, where we had different, we actually opened 21 clubs since the pandemic started. So we grew during the pandemic.
This is very impressive. Okay, so I think it will be very interesting to hear your take on what technology, what kind of role it played so far, and in the future. So great to have you here with us today, Lukas. Yeah, and now moving to Gareth Bacon. From sunny Dubai.
Sunny Dubai, yeah. Thanks very much for having me, Derek. Originally from Ireland, not so sunny. Called the Middle East my home for the last 12 years. Predominantly associated with the large concept, big box clubs out here in the Middle East. Sort of been doing that now for the last 12 years, kind of across all levels of the club. Currently now with a new concept coming to market just recently over the last year called Wellfit. So kind of in the startup space, but but have the means to sort of move quite quickly. A little bit like Lukas, we've got quite big sort of aspirations over the course of the next few years. Not rolling out that many clubs, Lukas. Good luck. We're looking more sort of 10 to 15 big box clubs over the next sort of 5 to 6 years. So yeah, look, technology plays a huge big part for us at every single level of our business. So I think looking forward to contributing to kind of what you guys are offering with this podcast. So yeah, look, thanks very much for having me involved.
Great, thanks. I'm really also curious to see. So maybe Gareth, you could start with explaining more specifically how you've been utilizing technology and how technology has been helping you grow Wellfit, since it's a bit of startup, but already starting big. I've visited your location. It looks really impressive in terms of the size, and I think there's already a lot of technology innovations there. So if you could explain how you use technology to get ahead of the game.
Well, I think, look, my role, Derek, very much has two facets to it. I mean, being the head of product, I'm there to kind of service our members and our people. So, where we are a people business. So what we try to do is obviously make as many processes as we have as efficient as possible, ensuring that our teams have the most efficient operating systems to enable them to get their job done as quickly as possible, so they have more face-to-face time with their members. Secondary to that, my role inside the company is to ensure that the product team have a very simple remit, that we exist to enable our users to be more connected with their club team, trying to put things into their palm of their hand at the touch of a button, to ensure as they give them as much opportunity to be as active as possible by whatever means they choose to do so. So I suppose to answer your question, how important is technology to us? We ultimately put technology at the forefront kind of everything that we do, with varying levels of importance. As I say, our industry is all about people, but our tech platforms exist to make life easier for the teams and our members. It could be a more efficient method of identifying dormant members. It could be an easier approach to program planning and tracking of programs. As you know, we use a very successful platform within the club for doing that, which we can talk a little bit about later on. Or it could just be a more streamlined and improved customer journey. But technology for us plays a key role at every single level. And even going back over the last 12 years at every single sort of brand I've been involved with, there's always been an element of technology, because I believe that's what brings your brand forward a lot.
Nice. Thanks a lot. And Becky, how about you? How important is technology for AMP and your growth as a business?
Well, we believe it's really important because we think the future of fitness is omni-channel. So we believe that our clients are likely going to work out at home a little bit, and they're also going to come into the studio a few times a week. So we're seeing clients come back to the studio post-COVID, post-pandemic, but we're also seeing that they want the optionality to work out at home. So for us, that omni-channel approach is incredibly important. The other piece is we were early adopters of virtual fitness. So we were on, I think, 3 platforms before the pandemic. And so we've been doing digital fitness for a long time. So we're, kind of experienced all the different options and all the frustrations as well, trying to figure out how to create a customer experience, both in digital fitness as well as in the studio, that feels comparable to what clients expect from other brands in the world at this point.
Okay, so I think you were in a pretty unique situation if you already tried 3 different platforms. You already, before the pandemic started, you already had experience. You probably knew better what you were looking for.
For sure. And I mean, honestly, the thing that I feel like is my biggest thing that I'm thinking about right now is really, per what Garrett was saying, like the customer experience, the customer journey. I think because it's a more competitive environment right now, we need to be competitive with other industries. So do we have comparable customer journeys to spas and other services that our clients might be using?
Mm-hmm. And why is it so? Because you compete with those industries, or is it because users, they just simply demand a similar level of ease when dealing with your business?
What we're seeing is that our clients are definitely splitting their time more than they did pandemic. So their journey during the week may not be like 5 or 6 days a week at the gym. It may be a few days at the gym and then going to use these other services as well.
Mm-hmm. And you mean wellness services, yes, like spa?
Wellness, beauty, spa. I mean, kind of a variety. Mm-hmm. We think of it as everything from recovery to traditional kind of beauty and wellness.
Interesting. Do you also see those trends, Lukas and Gareth?
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with Becky and Gareth. The tech plays a huge role every part of the business in terms of the customer, the member. We actually introduced our own app, VOD platform during pandemic, and also got a functional area in the club is also connected to the screen and the app, and that's one of the most popular classes in actual schedule. So that's member side. The head office side, the whole communication processes, customer service, sales, software, which is all got to be connected, and without good technology, you can't really not even grow the business. You can't really exist at the moment on our marketplace. And in terms of the running a franchise, is also plays huge role to make sure the franchisee gets the value that we introduce to the table in the franchise offer. So and what Becky also said here about the customer having few workouts in the club and maybe using other services, we also have noticed that. So I think that the technology still will not replace the gym because this is the culture. This is when you come and meet people, and it's, I think the pandemic also taught us that it's not gonna, the gym's not gonna disappear. The fitness industry is gonna survive. However, the new generation that's coming into the gyms, they expect more from the product, from the offer, and they wanna have the app. They wanna be able to connect with people, maybe have an affiliate program, and different options also on the mobile app. So yeah, it plays a huge role.
Nice. And so moving on maybe to the main part. I mean, I think that the main question, because looks like you all agree that technology is important. So I think the main takeaway we want to cover today is like, what should be the right approach to technology? So what I mean is that some of the gyms they use solutions that are already created off the shelf products, and some of the gyms they go ahead and they build their own solutions. So maybe to start up, what do you think is better? Which approach you think is wiser, or provides better user experience, or maybe is better for operation of the gym, or more favorable in terms of cost effectiveness? What's your take on off the shelf versus custom software?
Who do you want to go first?
Yeah.
I'll go. Yeah, no, look, I mean, I think look, off the shelf versus custom. I mean, I know we're all prepared with this, with the hybrid idea as well. I mean, look, if I put my Wellfit hat on what we're trying to build now, we use 3 core platforms to manage and run our business. Like we've had the ability to develop on top of the current functionality of these 3 platforms, and that was kind of really, really key for us. So like, look, if you were to ask me where would I sit between off the shelf and custom, custom can ultimately, it can be a bottomless pit of money, and be very, very time consuming to implement. Off the shelf can be limiting in a way, in the sense that you could be tied into a particular type of business model or a particular type of operating processes that that doesn't allow you to evolve and scale over time. So from my perspective, and I think from a lot of our senior management in the company, the hybrid model works best for us. You get the best of both worlds. It allows you to be a little bit more agile, where you can develop on top of what is already there. If you do need to tweak your business model, if you do need to evolve a little bit in your operating procedures, it gives you that flexibility. I obviously understand not everybody has the development budgets, particularly if you're a startup, if you're an SME. So off the shelf is a very sensible avenue to go. But I'd always be very mindful that you look for a platform that will offer you that flexibility with regards to some additional development hours in case you need to rework it a little bit to change how you go about doing things. So for me, it would be a hybrid. It would be a hybrid option. An off-the-shelf platform, it allows us to develop a little bit more.
Okay, so a hybrid model, but you said that it's very important to choose a platform that is off the shelf that will allow you for those customizations, correct?
Correct, mate, yes.
And
very
I
much
think
so.
it is an option that you can use when you launch the platform, but you can also keep this option for later, and you can start with something which is off the shelf, but then add those customizations later.
No, we were very specific. I mean, one of the big things that we looked for whenever we were hunting for our platforms was a partner that would automatically allow us to develop from the get-go. Look, I mean, I think most platforms now are offering you everything that you need. It's just how many clicks of a button is required to get the action done. We were very specific. We went looking for a platform and service provider that offered us that flexibility from the very beginning. We have a little bit of a unique business model in the sense that we do a lot with adults and juniors and term-based and school-like offerings. So we needed a platform that offered us the excellent functionality of payments, of scheduling, of staff management, of inventory, but then also to help scale it up a little bit to meet our business model. And we have done that with all three platforms. So for me, I'm a big supporter of the hybrid model. If you've got the foresight and vision to know how to work it over and above what they offer.
Sure. And do you mind sharing which one did you pick?
Well, we went with the local provider, actually. I mean, look, I've worked with Perfect Gym before. I've worked with Mind Body before. I've worked with Virtue Gym before. Great platforms, but I think whenever it came down to it, it was quite stale in how do we develop it a little bit further. A big thing for me is always, again, my second question to any provider would always be, what sort of open APIs do you have? What access are you giving me to your data, to my data, to allow me to manipulate it and use it with whatever way we want? And we got that with a local provider, actually, a platform called Scope Software, Sentinel Software. Happy to recommend that to anybody. Fantastic platform. So yeah, they've been fantastic. They've worked with us every step of the way. They're a phone call away, and they've been helping us to develop our platform for the last year. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Very, very insightful, Gareth. Okay, so maybe Lukas, from your perspective, who would win the battle, off the shelf versus custom software?
Yeah, we actually have gone through all the options. We started with the off the shelf because it was a startup. I haven't had any experience in a business, so I've just basically taken what's there. I lived abroad for 15 years. I didn't know any Polish platforms. I moved, and it had to be a platform with a Polish language. So it was quite complicated at the beginning. But then I switched it to a Polish platform, also off the shelf. But then when we opened 3 clubs, and I've decided that we're gonna grow on the franchise model, and we started creating a franchise model, I knew we need to have something like ready made for us. So the off the shelf wasn't good enough. And I had one of the business partners who moved from abroad. He's a software developer. So we decided to build own software, like own in-house. So we developed a small team of software developers started working on the software, and we launched the software with club number 4. Grew our business from since then. We still use that software. Obviously, it's been modified many times. We added app. We added a VOD platform on top of it, sales CRM. And it was one of our unique selling points in terms of the franchise. So helped us a lot growing a business. And also during pandemic, we had, we were independent, so we could access our members, access data, freeze membership whenever you want, freeze payments. So we didn't have to wait for the outside company for decisions or wait in a queue. We were independent. So it played a huge role for us. But now we're in a position that we need to change it again, because the software that we develop on older technology, it's not good enough anymore, especially with the new growth plans that we have. So we could have option of redeveloping our own software with our in-house development team. We would have to hire more developers. and build that platform, or do a hybrid. So just link with the outside company that we could maybe do 70-30 or 80-20, and then go from there. And we're in the position actually to decide. We actually made a decision. We're going to go with the hybrid, because at the moment building a tech team to our requirements and the growth plans, it would be a different business. We're in a fitness business, we're in a franchise business, and having responsibility of a lot bigger tech team, maintaining a service it. It's, building a software is not just building a software, it's just basically working on the software all the time. And that requires a knowledge and management. So we decided we're going to go with the hybrid. We're now in a position to pick. We haven't done it yet, but we're very close of picking a partner, outside partner, who's going to have an open API. We will work with the partner to design a ready-made product for us, but they're going to take the 70% that what Gareth said, that that the payment processes, security, software security, servers, etc. They can do better than us, and whatever we need in terms of the unique points in the software, we're gonna develop it through our developers working with the outside team. So that's our position.
So nobody wins as well here. It's a hybrid solution.
Yeah, and then just to add to that, we're during the picking and developing new functionalities. We work with the outside companies like yourself. We work with Johnny. Johnny from Neoteric. He was actually involved in giving us his feedback, opinion in choosing the outside software company. So you have to be a little bit flexible. I think in-house, working with outside independent companies, and having a good partner.
I see. So you're saying that this is maybe an important decision, and external help in terms of advising what to choose is important, because you don't want to be blocked maybe 1 or 2 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. So good tech company is good in tech, and then especially with the tech world changing now, you have to be up to date. You have to work on growing your team, taking care of your team. They have to be up to date with the new technology. If you have, that's what I've noticed, if you have just a few developers, you're never going to be the best in that space. So we want to be the best in fitness, in the franchise business, and we want to concentrate mainly on that.
Super interesting. Thanks, Lukas. Okay, and Becky, what's your take? Who would win the battle?
Yeah, I think in the past, it's always been like 3 different buckets, right? You have the customer journey, you have the kind of club management software, and then you have the content management. So to me, we've had literally, I've had 3 different relationships with sets of technology companies in each of those buckets for the past several years. I think that it seems like it's all starting to come together, which makes a lot of sense. And when that happens, hopefully, we'll have, per what Lukas said, better technology, more engineers working on it. I would say one of the most successful experiences we've had in the past is when we work with a company that, maybe is a little bit closer to the beginning of their journey themselves, the software journey. And so they're willing to take lots of feedback on the development of the API and of the product. And that's really helpful. So we were on, Xtreme years ago for booking, and then moved to Mariana Tech. For content, we worked with Forte, Jet Sweat, and then we developed an app with Techno Gym. So there's lots of options. On the marketing side, BrandBot is something that we've used in conjunction with Mariana Tech. So there's just a lot of options. I think eventually I envision that kind of streamlining into hopefully one technology provider that can address kind of all of the needs of a modern fitness business. And then to Lukas's point, and Garrett, that's, as you scale, if you want to have a franchise, it really needs to be accessible and easy for, 50 new owners in, let's say Texas, to be able to just literally sign up. It needs to be, kind of grab and go.
It's almost the minefield though, Becky, I think, right? You could name service providers and of the whole day long, right? There's just so many of them out there. And That was one of the biggest things that, I mean, okay, fine, I'll go back, 10 years now of before you really found the first one. There's just the offering is just so vast, which is why I think, whenever you're approaching before you're making a decision, you've got to have a very, very, very clear plan in the back of your mind, what it is that you're trying to achieve. First and foremost, like, what is the long-term vision? If you've got a vision for 1 or 2 years just to get your business off the ground, you'll be changing your tech platform within a year's time. If you're looking at it from a 10 to 15 year horizon type of approach, you'll find the right tech platform with you. But for any new startup or business thinking about changing their platform, the biggest minefield is just the volume of service providers that you have to go through.
I think that's a great point. Having to sort it. I mean, actually, for my other company, for GoSaga, we literally have a pipeline of software companies that have to be sorted for each brand, because it's not always the same solution for each brand as it goes to market.
And how do you cope with this problem?
The way I cope with it is to develop a set of KPIs that works for each business. So figuring out what is, to Gareth's point, like, what is the most important thing for that business, and how will the software, whether it's a suite or a specific solution, meet their needs.
So it's like
also on that, most of the off-the-shelf, a lot of off-the-shelf products got just basically too many options, more than you need. And if it's a software, you can switch them off and just sort of design them to your needs. That's great. But if your staff, your team, has got 70% of more than they need, so they're going to be clicking, they're going to be confused. So that's also another advantage of, like, either hybrid or maybe this design model for the particular business.
And you said that it's very important for growing the franchise business, because it's the ease of use that will be very important. But maybe, Lukas, from your perspective, since you've successfully grown your franchise network with software, and you mentioned that it was a critical aspect of this growth, how specifically did your custom software help you achieve this growth?
Yeah, we're very sales driven and sales orientated company. We designed a CRM to our needs, and we don't have any buttons that you don't need in a business. So that was huge. So in terms of the simplicity of the business model and the software, it was simple. It was always simple. We actually, from starting with few functionalities, then growing the software based on what we needed in the business, and now everything is linked together. So it's great. So it had played very big part. It was main part of our franchise presentation for our franchisees. We do have software, our own software. It's ready to use for our business model. Our franchisees have access. We were presenting that technology that will come with the franchise, and that helped growing a franchise business until now. So definitely played a huge role.
So understand correctly, one of the unique selling points was that your software is great at selling. So if they sign up with your network as franchisees, they will have access to software that will help them grow their business better.
100%, yeah. Lead generation functionalities, very simple CRM. So we don't have sales teams. We do sales from reception. So our reception play service and sales at the same time. So in terms of the payroll cost, it's effective. But just because the software, the CRM system, is very easy in use, dynamic, and designed to that model, we can make a decent amount of sales without having a huge big sales team. Also, the affiliate program that comes with the software, which is our app affiliate program, delivers also a lot of leads. So that was also a part of it.
Nice. Okay, and maybe from a certain area of
sorry, Derek, can I just ask Lukas a quick question? I don't mean to enter. So Lukas, have you built your engine and your platform then around trying to make most of those tasks that reception and sales combined, to streamline them as much as possible, to make time-saving capabilities so that they can make more phone calls or they can interact more with members on the floor? Is that what the whole premise of developing your own platform is based around? Yeah.
So because we're not a long-term contract, so you don't really need that kind of like salesy approach, because it's the progress easy to sell, but the amount of calls you got to make from a sales team is got to be shared CRM, so everyone see the activities, the manager can see everyone's activities. You can track if any activity's been actioned. So actually there's three activities in the CRM. There are phone calls, there are meetings, and also overdue activities. So you can see the overdue, which they haven't been completed, and you can see on the calendar if they move forward. So that was sort of idea from the beginning, where I worked with different, probably dozens of different softwares, different companies. I always had something missing there. Plus, I'm from sales background. I mean, I grew up in sales environment, running different sales teams. So I knew that sales is going to play a huge role in my business. That's why now, with that environment that we are in the franchise, we're sort of, I would say we're much ahead in terms of the effectivity of the model.
No. Mm-hmm. And that's right. That's what technology is supposed to play the part in, right? Just making things more efficient, so your staff have more time to spend where it matters, right? With your user.
Exactly.
Very, very much sort of the similar approach that we take. Yeah.
And what do you use for CRM?
We use a platform called Zoho CRM Plus. It's got many different functionalities. The main stuff that we use it for is kind of it's called Service Desk. So it's anything to do with ticketing, requests, 7-day follow-up, 21-day follow-up. Haven't done a PT taster, haven't done an induction. All of these. What would have been, go back 5, 6, 7 years, ultimately manual tasks to identify who these individuals are, now simply just pop up in our agent's notifications box as a task for the day. There's zero downloading, copy and pasting, sending Excel reports. Like, everything is streamlined and digitized to where it's as efficient as we're trying to make it. Ultimately, we want to get more efficient again. I mean, saving 5 minutes of a member of our member experience team's time every single day. By the time that sort of populates over a year, it's a lot of face time for them to be spending with the members. So we use Zoho CRM Plus, and this is one of these softwares whereby you can even though it's a globally recognized brand, you can still develop on top of it. So things that we're doing is we're actually integrating it with our membership platform as well. So we're taking, the last activity date, the lifetime value of the member, and we're populating all of these data points on the contact inside the CRM platform. So anytime, let's just say a member hasn't done a PT taster, for example, within 7 days, if they haven't done it, a notification pops up in our agent's inbox to call them and find out what's going on with their PT taster. But at the same time, they can also see other little touch points about them. What was the last class they attended? What was the last spend they made in the club? What was the last date and time of visit? Did they use our strength management platform? So we get all of these touch points. So whenever we connect with them, everything's at the touch of a fingertip. And it's a fantastic platform. And there's a lot more out there as well. Major global brands, Salesforce, CRM Plus, that allows you to develop a little bit more over and above what they offer as an off-the-shelf offering.
I see. But what I understand is a lot around streamlining the internal operations. So in this specific aspect, do you think that off-the-shelves are better, or do you think that maybe they are not so good and custom solutions are needed?
You mean in terms of the CRM?
Yes, the CRM in general, the back office side of running the gym.
In our case, because I've mentioned we're in a position of choosing the partner that we're going to develop the ready-made sort of software to redevelop it to our needs. So the CRM and the sales league, they were the areas where it have to be designed exactly to our needs, because none of the software that were on the market had exactly what we need in terms of the sales. And sales are so important to us that we agree that you're going to do the 70% or 80%, but we're going to tell you, we're going to work with you designing a CRM, and the sales league that we have is also plays a huge part for us. Everything else, like reporting, payments, this is very similar in every software now. You can't really create anything magical. So that was important to us. And in terms of what we said, back office, in terms of reporting, like the global view of the business, especially for us when we have a franchise, we can compare club to clubs in different areas of the country, different sizes, different cities, the size of the cities, how they develop, what are the pre-sales. So this is like the analytics of the software is also very crucial.
Yeah, Becky, from your perspective in the back office, gym management, does it make any difference, like in terms of our competition between off the shelf and custom? Would you agree with Lukas that for gym management, there is usual lot of ready-made products that are fit for purpose?
I think for booking, there's a huge number of products out there, and they're a variety of levels of helpfulness, I think. But I think that I would say the CMS areas where I see kind of a lot of room for growth in fitness specifically, because we don't have great, there's too many clicks. It's from the customer side. Then looking from the staff side, on our side, they still, even if we're using 1 or 2 or 3 platforms, they still are toggling between systems. So while, like, per what Gareth was saying, like, we can look at the customer journey, we can kind of figure out where they are. But usually it means we have to toggle between 2 different dashboards. And I think from like a manager perspective, yes, they do have a list of tasks they can get in BrandBot each morning that, like, this is who you need to follow up with. This person hasn't been in, but there's not kind of a deeper knowledge of what that customer journey looks like.
Gotcha.
For off the shelf.
Okay. And now moving to the member experience. So from the member perspective, the applications that interact with users, whether this is an app for booking classes, for managing my membership, a mobile app, a web application. What's your take in here? Like, what do you think? Do you think that it's better to build something custom because maybe you can differentiate a lot in terms of look and feel and your brand, or maybe not that important, or maybe it's important but off-the-shelf solutions fit well, cover the needs well?
I might go with this one first. Yeah, I mean, I coach also other brands, and so I've seen people using a variety of different platforms. I would say that the current off-the-shelf solutions are not good enough. I mean, they don't offer a clean click-through for the customer, and so you lose so many sales. And so what happens is the larger franchise companies rely on they still are relying on phone calls and literally face-to-face interaction, because the landing pages are not smooth. They don't go through to kind of a direct to purchase. There's a lot of clicking. So I think that that's an area that could definitely be improved with either partial customization, et cetera. Right now, I don't think that's a great area.
I see. So the conversion itself, but is it for new members or is it also for existing members that you see?
I mean, existing members usually kind of figure out how to click through, but if you look at the kind of major, at least in the US and fitness, MindBody and Mariana Tech are a huge, percentage of the customer base, and there's a lot of clicking.
Which will affect your conversion rates, and then you're losing business and your investment in marketing sales.
Yeah, it's not as big of an issue with a member, obviously, where it's a recurring revenue stream. But if you do have class packs, or you're doing events, or you have kind of anything where someone needs to sign up, it's very difficult.
Lukas, Gareth, what's your take here?
Look, I've experienced both. Becky touched on Mind. I've got experience with MindBody's app. I mean, she's absolutely right. I mean, the level of friction to even just book a class or find a location of a multi-site brand isn't the most efficient. not to mention it doesn't serve a purpose if you don't have the abilities or the in-house, funding to be able to go and do one custom-wise. From my experience over the last year, we have been developing our own custom app, and if you have the ability, if you've got the team, if you've got the financial backing to do it, I mean, I would always suggest that you go for your own custom build. You can just do so much more with it. I mean, if you bring certain other additional services into your club, additional technologies for, if you were to bring a MyZone in, or if you were to bring a Spivvy performance tracking in, or an AdvaGym strength tracking in, these things all have open APIs, and you can integrate all of that into your own application. And I think what the guys have always been mentioning and talking about is to enable that member, you make it as frictionless as possible for them to access the information that they want. Now, if that's a particular coach's class time on a particular day, that should be 2 or 3 clicks and that class is booked. If it's to track their calories and their heart rate with a wearable that's linked to your application, that should just be a 1 click through the menu and the dashboard's there. To get access, we've just recently launched our own on-demand platform as well. I mean, it's powered by Les Mills On Demand at the moment until we get our own content. But again, with 2 clicks, you've got a live class on your screen or on your TV at home. So I think, look, from my perspective, I would choose custom every day from an app, but not everybody has the means to do so. But I completely agree with Becky. Some of the stuff that's on the shelf out there is very not user friendly, let's say.
And since you have hands-on experience going that route, so we could maybe just repeat what is needed if you want to build this custom app for your members. So you said a bit of budget.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're in a very fortunate position, Derek, as you know, that we're part of a larger brand. We have a big in-house IT team. Within that IT team, they've got full stack, UI, UX. And we're just able to tap into that. Now, the challenge that we face, as we've spoken about it many times, is they've got their own agenda as well. So we're not actually as agile as we'd like to be. I mean, it takes a little while to launch new functionalities. Whereas if we actually had an in-house team, which we don't, so we are hamstrung that way. But yes, it's a costly process. You need 2 or 3 individuals, full stack, back end, mid layer, UI, UX. If you wanted to physically do it yourself. So it's ultimately a money play to have your own custom app.
Okay, so would you say that this is all about calculating return on investment for such a project? If you want to build this custom user interface, custom apps?
I mean, our application pretty much sort of centered. Our whole brand and club and our offering is pretty much all centered around the application. Yeah, okay, what we do in the club is what people pay for, but the access, the connectivity, the communication with the club, the bookings, the payments, your feedbacks, your 5-star ratings, everything goes through the app. A member probably gets 5 or 6 communications within their first 10 days of being a member, with as many links as we can shove down their throat for them to download the application, because that's where we want them to live. We want them to live on our app. So yeah, for us, that's the sole goal, is to get our members onto our application. Because if we can get them onto there, then we can drive as much content towards them to get them into the club.
You control the relationship through the digital
100%, yeah.
Nice. Lukas, how about you? What's your take on the
I agree. We got an old mobile app, access card. Pandemic helped us a little bit, sort of to force the mobile card through the access point. So over 90% of our members use mobile app now to access the clubs. We've launched a mobile app to funny enough. We launched the mobile app just before the pandemic. There was February, pandemic hit in March. We worked on the app for about a year, so we were quite ahead in terms of technology, especially here on the Polish market. So the app, it plays big role in communication with the member, and also has a loyalty program in it. And you get loyalty points for various activities like workouts, or creating your own workout plan, updating your goals, etc. That's what's engaging with the member. So it's also a great retention tool because the loyalty points you can exchange for pretty much anything in the club. You can buy something, or you can pay for your membership if you have enough points in your app. And if you cancel your membership, you lose your loyalty points. So it's also a retention tool for us. You get calendar, you get workouts, you get over 1,000 different exercises. We recorded them with our own trainers during pandemic where the clubs were closed. So we took advantage of that as well. And it's got to be simple. I've noticed if the app is complicated, members will not use it as much. So now we're in a position to modify it to make it even simple, because I've noticed it's too many clicks when you're trying to create your own program. But it's a work in progress. It plays a huge part, and I think it's got to be, in our perspective, it's got to be ready-made. It's got to be unique for the business model, and it's got to be linked to the software.
Okay, so now changing the system, this is within the 30% of technology that you want to keep in house, correct?
Yeah, we keep it in house. We're going to be modifying it. We're gonna make it better, and that app stays forever.
Nice. Okay. So I think based on the discussion so far, by the way, there is still Q&A mode. So if anybody from the audience, if you have questions, feel free to post them in the chat, and we can answer them. I wanted to ask about the problem of choice. So because as you say that, for example, Lukas, your example, you started with off the shelf, then you build custom, now you're going to hybrid, and those needs change. So how to be smart to make the right choices that are right for now and also right for the future? What would you say would be the best?
So I'm a lot sort of smarter and more experienced in terms of the technology than I was 10 years ago when I was choosing my first software. So I just chosen whatever's out there, give it to me. I was scared of opening a business. So it's different. So it's a different situation now. Now I use experts, even though I've got my own team and I've got more knowledge. So I work with like yourselves, like Neoteric, to choose the right partner, because they're gonna the good outside partner who's independent. They're gonna scan the whole system. They're gonna check if they got the right security, they use the right technology, there's the right coding, there's the documentation in the place, and it's the right software for the business needs. Like, I need a system now who's going to be able to deliver when we have over 200 locations in 6 years. So I need to make sure they have the right roadmap to cope with that. So that's we're going to do our part, but I also hired a company who's going to do their part to give me an opinion. Maybe 2 or 3 different. Obviously, it's a cost, but it's in this position where we are now, it's very very important to do so regardless the cost, and that's we're making decision based on our findings and what we need, and also the opinion of the company that we choose.
Yeah, so I understand that your advice gets smart people to advise you and gather as many opinions as possible to make your head to make the right decisions. Becky, from your perspective, since you also have planned to grow as a franchise network, what would you add? What do you think is best, so that, how to approach it so that you can cover your current needs, but you also have this space for the future to adjust?
I think what Lukas said is a really good point. Bringing in a consultant makes a lot of sense. I also think that finding peer networks where you can share what people in your kind of community are using is great. So for me, Derek, we actually met through Boutique Fitness, and I'm a member of that mastermind program, and I find that super helpful. We're always kind of the CEOs of all of those American brands are constantly sharing, software ideas and challenges and kind of what we're doing. So I do think finding some kind of a peer network always helps. And then I think that, at least in my experience, like, if you can involve your team in the decision making, it makes it a lot easier to roll out. So whatever size of your company, I think, whether it's small or large, One of my first jobs, honestly, when I was very young, was doing a large website for a huge institution. And I think the more people you can involve in the decision as early as possible, the smoother the process will go.
Good advice. And I like what you said, because it's not only that you get their opinions and ideas, but maybe they're also more on board in terms of the decisions that you're going to make. So they'll be helping with the implementation. Yeah. Do you have such people at Wellfit or at Xtreme that are maybe tech evangelists in the company, actively helping with what to build and how to use technology?
Yeah, look, we certainly do. Yeah, we've got a few, Derek. I think, look, for us to ensure that we have the most robust tech strategy in place, it started with what was our long-term vision. You know, what was the business model that we wanted? Did we want to be a company that was, you know, focused on giving our employees the best experience, giving our members the best experience? Do we want a hybrid of both of that? The more time, as we've said earlier, the more time employees have with the members, they get to delight them a little bit more. So I think we had a very, very clear vision about what we wanted for our team members, but then we also had a very clear vision about what we wanted for our members also. We're also big believers in data. We believe that data is king, and that whenever you come down on whatever platform it is that you end up going with, that it needs to be able to give you the information and the data out in a modality that you're comfortable to use, as long as the dashboards are good quality. Maybe you've got some analysts in your team and they can extract it through APIs and use it to manipulate, to build insights. That was a secondary key for us. And then finally, as I mentioned right back at the very beginning, that the third kind of modality for us when coming down on a platform was always flexibility. The flexibility to go above and beyond a little bit more what they actually offered off the shelf. So yeah, again, long-term vision, be very, very clear about what it is that you want for your employees and your members. Ensure that you've got good access to data and a modality that you can use it, and flexibility within your platform offerings.
Absolutely. But then do you engage those people in the decision process as well? Like your staff that works in the gym, of how the app should look like, what functionality?
Yeah, so on the application front, look, I mean, I don't have the privilege of being front of house, you know. I mean, I get to see a snapshot every now and then whenever I'm in the clubs. We actually have sessions with all of our member experience teams every single month. I mean, they're the guys that get the feedback. They're the guys that get chewed out whenever the platform crashes, if it should crash, if the member can't make a booking, or the member's gone into default and their application isn't working. It's the member experience team that takes all of that feedback in. So yeah, we have a head of member experience at every single club. And once a month, we sit down with the guys and allow them to put on the table the sort of experiences that they've had, particularly with the application, because that's something that we're really trying to develop and manicure into a big part of our club. So they're constantly coming forward with new ideas and innovative ways for us to develop the application. And as they're obviously the main stakeholders in using the tech platforms, ultimately the CRM platforms, the membership management platforms, they're always coming forward with ideas of ways to make it better. We can't always deliver on the requests, but we certainly listen, and we have implemented some stuff that they've suggested. Yeah.
That's a risk, yes. So you
they want the moon and stars, yeah.
Yeah, I would say listening is what I can promise. That's all I can promise.
Yeah.
And Lukas, maybe from your perspective with the franchise network, do you involve some of the franchisees into shaping the product?
Yeah, we're actually in the process of introducing. Well, we actually introduced the beginning of the year the new strategy, 6-year strategy. It's based on growing pain strategy, which I'm not sure if you guys read a book, but I highly recommend Growing Pains book. So we involve some of our franchisees in that strategy, so they give us the feedback, necessary feedback, what's actually in their club, what their team is saying, what the members are saying. And we take the feedback, we try to implement it in the different areas of the business, also technology. But we need to make sure the business model is simple, because like I've noticed with growing a franchise, especially with the plans that we have, it's got to be simple. It's got to be simple. It's got to be innovative. So you have to be innovative. You have to innovate. You have to have technology, but it's got to be simple. It's got to make members' life simpler, makes staff's life simpler, and the business model is got to be simple. Because if you're gonna too complicated, it's gonna make a lot of problems in the franchise. Because they're not staff, they're entrepreneurs. They're driven by different areas. The simplicity, it's key. I actually read a book not that long ago about how Steve Jobs' focus was on simplicity, and that's why he was winning in the business. So everything that he was making was make sure it's simple. So
it's complicated under the hood, but it's simple from the outside.
Yeah. So the technology is supposed to make things simple. That's how I look at it.
Thanks. And we have one question from the audience from Sarah, and she's asking what global trends in tech in the fitness industry are you most excited about and why?
Metaverse.
What about metaverse? That is so interesting.
No, I just put it out there. I'm not, still not looked into that much. So I think it's still the area which is not in our space as yet.
Sure. Becky, what's so exciting in fitness tech at the moment?
I think blurring the lines between studio and home, to me, that would be the most exciting thing. So, I mean, Peloton's interesting as like as one side of the coin. And then we've had so many kind of smaller examples, but I'm excited to see kind of larger franchise businesses, larger fitness businesses blur the lines.
And where are they with blurring the lines at the moment?
Oh, it hasn't happened yet, but I envision that happening in the next few years. I'm sure the bigger kind of franchises and bigger fitness companies will, and I know they're working on that right now.
I think the new generation.
Look.
Yeah.
Lukas said metaverse, so I think the metaverse is a wee while away yet. So while I'm very curious to see how that goes, I'll go for the other one, Web3. I'm curious to see how companies start tokenizing memberships and access packs, and I think there could be something quite cool in that space coming up over the course of the next year or two.
Cool.
Have you seen already?
A membership on the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
Have you already seen any implementation that is interesting, or are you still waiting to see, or maybe you're waiting to make a move?
Well, I wouldn't say we're waiting to make a move. No. I think like the Web3 and on blockchain, and if you were to put a membership on the blockchain, imagine having a membership whereby that's just figment of your imagination, costs $100. But if you were to come to the club 3 times a week, do 1 PT a week, and buy a smoothie every visit, then your membership next month would cost you $75. And as long as you can code all of that there on the blockchain contract, it just takes care of itself. Now, I don't understand enough about it. I heard a fantastic talk a couple of months back about a guy very knowledgeable about the subject. Hence why I'm quite curious to see, because I know he's working on something over the course of the next few months to try and bring to market. Yeah, so I think Web3 for me, but Lukas stole the metaverse on me. So yeah.
No, but it's going to be interesting to see with Web3, because I think some of those solutions, like you mentioned, like giving rewards for activities that you do while you train, they can be done with some blockchain technology, but maybe as well you can do it with traditional technologies. You don't need to use blockchain to code them.
Just like Lukas's reward scheme, right? Your reward scheme is built around access, built around consumption inside your clubs. So it's already being done, and Web3 is just a cool, funky name for it.
Yeah. So the next stage would be the whole like combining fitness and maybe the game space in the new generation. How you come to the gym, and then you compete with other members. I'm actually surprised how the new because I've noticed a lot, especially with the new generation, a lot of ladies, a lot of females use strength training, squat machines and that kind of. So that's even more now than ever before. Like a strength areas, plate loaded machines, functional areas. You got full of ladies. And so I'm actually curious how the new generation is gonna combine fitness and technology. How big of a part of in their lifestyle is gonna play the technology is gonna be. We know it will, but it's to what extent, and with this gaming stuff and like metaverse, whatever we're saying now. So that's.
Let's observe this space. I think it's going to be definitely interesting. Or maybe it's just that we need to put the blockchain technology there so that investors starts to come in and ventures. But we'll see. Okay, so Gareth, Becky, Lukas, was really lovely to have you with us today, and your insights are really great, and I think that they will help some of the industry representatives to make smarter decisions about how to build their talk roadmap and how to use technology to grow their businesses and improve user engagement and streamline operations. So thanks a lot for the session today. And in terms of the audience, if you still have any questions, if you have similar challenges around choosing the tech stack or building your custom app, then always Neoteric is here, happy to help. So just reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to help. So Gareth, Becky, and Lukas, thanks a lot and have a good day.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you all.
Thanks, Derek. Cheers, guys. Good stuff.